Savage Anglers, welcome to a live match. This is the first match in a series of hopefully 5 that I'll be doing here at Staffordmoor. I'm on the festival, the Silverfish Only Festival. It's the first round today and I've drawn on Tanner's peg 16, which according to all the people that fish it regularly is a pretty decent peg, so I've got to try and get a result here, because if I can't get a result for a decent peg then I'm pretty much not going to be able to get a result of anywhere. I've had a couple of days practice. We arrived on the Saturday. We fished Saturday a little open. I was just down the road down peg 20 and didn't do very well in my section really, but I learned a few things. And then we had a little mess about yesterday, but it was quite windy and wet, so we didn't do too much. But I learned a few more things, and luckily we fished Tanner's again. And so I've drawn Tanner's to my first match, so hopefully I've got a bit of confidence because I've fished it now to be the third time. So I'm not doing an intro onto my phone like I normally do, because I've stood on my phone and broken it, so it's out of action for the week. I've snapped my pole twice. Once because the wind blew it off the rollers on the first day, and then it hit somebody's trolley and put a big hole in the side of it. And then just now, while I was plumbing up a line, my number 13 section snapped clean and off, which I think is probably damage from that wind blowing off incident. So that's not put me at a great start. But there we are. Just got to put that behind me and move on. So, next time you see me, we'll be fishing, guys. And I'm going to start on the feeder. So I learned the Carassios are quite important here. And then I'm going to drop onto my pellet line that I like to fish. And then I'm going to drop onto a worm line. And then I have set up a rig for really, really close short in the edge. But I'll only go on that if I feel like I have to, because obviously carp are an issue here. And we're going to hook some carp today. So they've really started feeding and everybody's going to be hooking carp. Luckily we're not on the carp ball, hopefully. The carp ball's a bit further down the lake. I'm hoping it was yesterday anyway. Right guys, we are 12 minutes in and I'm just winding in, just attached to what I think is my second Carassio. I've landed a Carassio already. Just do count. They're a big, what I learnt on the practice match, which I wasn't expecting. I came in and I fished the pole and the guy next to me. Sorry about that, guys shouting to each other on the peg next door. You'll probably pick them up on the camera because they're quite loud. But also saying, yeah, so I learned that these Carassios are important here. I wasn't expecting them to be. Luckily I brought my feeder rod with me. And I got a good lesson off the guy on the next peg to me. He came second in the section and he caught a lot of these Carassios early, doing what I'm doing now. But he used a method feeder. I'm using a cage. Neat ground bait and just one pinky on the hook. I'm trying to avoid drawing carp in there as much as I can, so I'm keeping the bait that's going in as minimal. I'm just trying to nick one fish at a time. It's what I found when I was practicing yesterday. Everybody around was catching carp and I wasn't. So they were all fishing the method feeders and putting bait on their pole lines. I've put no baiting on my pole line whatsoever. At the moment, because when I drop onto those pole lines, I'm going to be fishing with pellet approach, which is pretty instant. And I'll probably feed it 10 minutes before I go on it. Well, he's well up, he was not coming off. Get in there. So, I'll turn the cameras on and just show you that. Next time I speak to you, probably be a 1 hour update, but there we are. Right guys, 1 hour update. Still on the feeder, I've still not fed anything on my pole line. I've got 5 Carassios. I think I'm doing alright in the section at the moment, but I am on a peg that's known for having some Carassios in it, so there's another one I'm able to speak to here. Something odd. So I've got something on here, it's a Carassio or a skimmer, so I was just chucking out the feeder with just plain ground bait in a single pinky on the hook. I'm trying to avoid drawing carp into the swim, and I'm trying, to just nick fish as I can. And I've had a few fish and then it's gone a bit quieter. So what I've done is I've just took a metre of line off, cast out again, and this is my second fish out on that metre line extra. Just slightly wetted my ground bait up a little bit because I like the ground bait on the dry side, but it's dried out a little bit more, and that feel like it was too dry, so I made it a little bit wet and make sure it's getting down to the bottom a bit better. But it's still breaking up pretty quick, so it's still pretty dry. I've only got a 3-hole cage, little 3-hole cage on, 10 gram. I think that's important with these Crassios, because I ain't caught them before. Everyone keeps talking about, oh, this is a skimmer, this one. Everyone keeps talking about how these Crassios are got soft mouths and milk pools out and stuff. So I'm thinking a little 10 gram feeder will be less likely to much less likely to tangle. Not tangle, sorry, because I'm in a tangle, that's why I've said the word tangle. Yeah, much less likely to pull the hook out, is what I was thinking. So then I wonder if that skimmer is a result of just wetting that ground bait up a little bit. I wonder if it's total coincidence. I don't know. I've got a size 16 SFL on, which is quite a big hook for a single pinky though. Hopefully you're seeing that. I can't see what you'll see on the camera, but hopefully. And that is because I want these fish to hook themselves. Just waiting, and I'm fishing a light feeder. So I want an SFL which is nice and sharp, and I want a nice big hook. I give them a good chance of something to pull against, because a light feeder, they don't prick themselves so easy. So I want a nice sharp hook. I'll chuck that again, that ain't gone long enough. But also, a bigger hook gives a bit more gape, so there's more chance of them pricking themselves. I'm going to stop talking while I cast, because I think trying to talk to you and think about what I was saying to you has distracted me. So just give me a second, I'll cast this out and I'll carry on updating you on where we are. So glad you made it. Oh, my pinky's come off, isn't it? Oh, that's no good, yeah. We're in a calamity, yeah. As soon as the cameras come on. Right, there we are, getting a live running commentary from the guy next door of every single fish he catches. So I shan't be guessing what he's got, because I know exactly. That's better. What are you trying to do? Straight at the island. And what I've been doing is just like, I don't sink the line, because these fish sometimes have it straight away. Just like, because it's absolutely still calm, the line just lies on the top. And I think it went then. Something, I look at it then straight away. That's what I say, you get these bites early. Sometimes, because if you sink that while you're sinking the line, which you wouldn't notice if you had your rod tip under the water, you wouldn't have noticed that. It's up to you whether you're brave enough to leave that back out there now with a single pinky maybe even pulled off the hook, but I'll leave it. I'm only doing 2 or 3 minute chucks. Don't seem like it any longer is required. Tighten that up. So if I 5 Crassios and that skimmer, I'd say my fish are averaging £1 a piece. I've got probably about £6, maybe 7. That skimmer was quite a big one. I've had some slightly bigger Crassios, but I've also had some smaller Crassios, so I think they're averaging. That's not a Crassio, that's busted me up out there. There was a carp. There's a carp just bust the hook then. That was good on the camera. I don't know if you saw that or not. I was just looking around to see what got Ryan ship in my section just further around, and he was just missing something there. And that fish just ran to the clip and done me. That's why I'm fishing with a light hook length. I've got like 011 AccuPower on, which is, something that the carp can break. No way that was anything except a carp or a fish that didn't count. Normally you can get them out, but when they run like that at the clip, you got no chance. So that's my first carp problem. Today, the guy next to me on the left, he's been giving us a running commentary of what he's catching. He's had 5, he reckons. People have had them everywhere. The guys to my right have all had one. Might be that I've got to, if I get another one here, then I'm going to come back onto the, if I get another one there, I shall come back onto the pole line perhaps, or just start a new line out there, just chuck to a different spot for a bit. So I found that worked quite well in practice, was like just start a new spot. Just want the cart moving, but I mean, it was a bit full on that take, wasn't it? Nearly dragged me rod in, but thanks to the rod grip thing that I've got for the Preston butt gripper, the rod was saved. Oh, let's bang that again. She's looking very carpy at the moment, which is worrying. Aggressive, like an aggressive miner again. Here we are. Let's set again. Another 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to start thinking about what's my next move. I ain't got any feed on that pole line yet, and I've got to put something on it. I'm planning on fishing on my pellet approach at 14 and a half metres. That's my next move. I'm trying to stick to a plan. Quite often I'll sit and make a plan before I come to a match, based on, you know, what I've seen and what I've experienced on that venue, and then I end up doing something different, and I'll end up regretting it, because if you don't get the result that you wanted, you start questioning whether you should have stuck to your plan. So I'm going to stick to my plan. Which is basically, I'm going to stay on this tip until I feel like there's no more Carassios to catch, or skimmers or whatever, and then drop onto the pellet line, and hopefully catch there, and then if that, you know, keep fishing there until there's nothing more to catch, or till I get carped out or whatever, and then drop short onto a worm line to finish off. This isn't a carp, I don't think. This could be a Carassio or a nice breed. Or the other. Will take nicely. The way the venue's been fishing, sort of £20 will be a good section point in our section. We've got one of the best sections, certainly on this lake and across the venue, but I don't know woodpecker. I've not seen woodpecker fished. I don't know how it's fishing, and obviously that could produce good weight. Pines hasn't been producing good weights, so I'm to be surprised if anybody manages anything there, but you know, fishing changes, doesn't it? We know that. At the moment this lake's fishing true to form, rock hard for everybody. What you see and hear me is, you know, I'm probably in the top 2 or 3 anglers on the lake, I would guess, at the moment. That doesn't mean it's going to stay like that, obviously, but I don't think it's fishing like this all over, because it's not. Can I see it? Right guys, just over 2 hours in. I've got 15 Carassios and a skimmer. This is the longest I've waited for a bite, just sitting here at the moment, although I've had a couple of indications on this chuck. So there's been some fish around it, but they've not pricked themselves, so I'm going to wind this in and chuck it out again, I think. I'm doing quite well in my section. The 2 guys to my right started catching odd skimmers on the pole line. The skimmers are quite good size, so I've got to be careful they don't catch me up. So I did, you know, about 20 minutes ago when I put some bait out on my pole line, on the pellet line. So I was thinking, you know, these guys are going to start catching me up. I've got to be careful. But what happened then was I had like 4 Carassios in 4 puts real quick, like less than a minute to wait for a bite. So I thought I just can't come off it at the moment. And that there, I've had to wait like 3 minutes there, and I never take. So That's miles away. So I had to wait 5 minutes there for a take. No, not 5 minutes, like 3 minutes. So I thought the bait might come off, but it hadn't. So maybe things are just starting to slow down a little. Can't expect to keep catching at that rate. But 15 crassios after 2 hours, I mean, that puts me on 30 crassios after 4 hours if I keep catching at that rate. And that, you know, that putting me in the £30, sort of 25 to £30 bracket. Just good, you know, just target weight really. In my mind, I'm thinking £25 target weight, but the guys to my right start catching skimmers already in this section, so maybe we'll have a bigger weight today to frame. Maybe if I get 35-40 to get in to win this section. It's all guessing games, isn't it? It's all part of the fun. I'm just still not. I don't sink the line by putting the rod tip under. I'm just letting the line. That's quite still today. The line just lies flat on the surface. And I just keep bending the tip quite often. The tip just flies around while I'm doing this. So, you know, I don't feel like it needs to happen. It just means I can watch indications and see if anything has had a look whilst I'm tightening down. It gives me an idea what's going on in the swim, you see. And things where I'm reluctant to come off it because I feel like if I come off it, if I went back on it later, it might not be the same. I've built this swim up now over the last 2 hours, sort of dropping that feeder in that area, tight to the island, but straight out towards that island. And I've had spells where I just throw it. Seeing it lands, it goes round. It's just starting to show first signs of slowing down a little bit. So it's be decision time for me now on what I do. Start putting some bait through, trying to draw them in, or I could just take another metre off. I'm borderline the limit for the rod and reel rod line set up with this little tiny feeder. I'm a little 9-foot rod, trying to throw a 10-gram feeder. If I'm honest with myself, the line on this reel needs changing. It's a bit clunky. Sometimes it don't go out so well. But all that's academic because tips come round again, so I'll be staying on this for a bit. I'll be staying on this for a bit longer. The guys to my right, you know, they're catching on the tip, but if I'm, you know, I can assume if I keep dropping bait in there, when I drop on it, I can catch on the tip as well. Maybe gather some fish there and catch like a run of them when I go on it. I'm looking to put bait in because everybody's catching carp everywhere. I just don't want to do anything to draw carp. No good gathering loads of carp on my pole line and then dropping in and catching 6 or 7 carp in a row, because it will just be a pointless frugal exercise of trashing rigs and wasting time. Might as well just stop on the feeder and nick one Carassia or something if it gets quiet. At the moment, I feel like it's a no-brainer to stay on this. This one will be number 15 Carassios. So I've had 15 Carassios, 1 skimmer. They're all nicely hooked in the bottom lip. I'm on the 4th hook length. One changed because it went blunt, one got snapped by a carp, and one was getting really tatty. I feel like because I'm relying on it being self-hooking, I want everything to be nice and straight and clean and tidy, so I changed it. So that's 15 Carassios and a skimmer now, 16 fish, 2 hours in. Must be somewhere around the £16 mark. I'd say minimum of 12, maximum of 18. It's really hard to guess the size of these Crassios, but they do seem to be averaging around about a pound. I've never caught Crassios before in any great number. I'm not really used to guessing their weight. I could be massively overestimating. I could also be massively underestimating, which wouldn't be so much of a problem. Right guys, we are 2 o'clock, so 3.5 hours in. Finishing at 3:30. I'm still on the tip. Just put a little bit more ground bait in on the pole line. But then I was, thinking it was going to slow down. I've had another one where I had 28 fish so far. 27 Crassios and 27 Crassios and a skimmer, and whatever this is, which I think is another Crassio. It's fighting weirdly, but then they all seem to fight slightly differently. Put another net in. Oh, this is a goldfish. A koi carp. I don't know what that is. I'll stick him in when the guy comes around to weigh. I'll find out if he counts or not. We'll take him back out. Check that out. Goldfish. Yeah. I'll chuck it in the net. I'll ask him when he comes round. I'll ask him when he comes round, when he weighs me in. Do they? So he's easy enough to find in the net anyway if he's got to come out, isn't he? Cheers. Just checking with the guy next door. He reckons they do count. Instant win. You wouldn't have caught it. Yeah, they don't like corn, Tom. Sorry guys, bit of banter there live on the cameras. So where was I? 2 hours, 2 o'clock, 1.5 hours to go. One and a half hours to go. Got 28, I'm not going to click that cart. So 28 fish, 29 fish in total, but I don't think it was a pound, so I won't class it as a pound. I'm expecting to have at least 28 pound of fish. I could have way more. Just depends on what the average stamp of those Crassios is. Very hard for me to guess because I've never really caught them in any great number before. But, looking at them, if they're similar to carp, I'd say they weigh in a little bit more, and I could be well into the 30s. But then they could be deceivingly hollow, and you end up with, less than 28. It'd be interesting to see, because I'll be learning something there. A lovely warm day. I mean, 2 days prior to this, yesterday we were practice. We had a 3-day lot, just come and practice fished, pleasure fish really. It was hailing and it was a howling wind. And today it's been pretty. Looking at it now, that tiny little ripple is as windy as it's been. It was a real frosty last night and cold. My van was covered in frost this morning. But van was covered in frost this morning, and so we can go down, and we were thinking it's going to be hard, and it has been hard for most people. Like I say, do not think this is representative of what's happening on my peg and the rest of the lake, because it's not. I think there's another couple of guys maybe on a few spots where there's some Crassios catching, but everybody's struggling like odd bits and bobs, and I'm on the best section apparently, so it's been a tough. I mean, stories from some of the other lakes that very, very little's getting caught on some pegs. So I've been kind of spoilt on my first day of the festival to have one of the better pegs, or if not the best peg. Maybe, I don't know, I'll find out at the end, but I'll take that bit of luck after, breaking my pole, breaking my phone on this holiday already. I haven't even started the festival yet. That's broke the hook length, which is not good. Tie another one up. Get the hook out of here. It's out. It's out. There we are. 29 fish. Right, that's where we are. I think we're doing really, really well. I'll keep you updated, but I'm going to tie this up length now. Right guys, end of the match. Like I say, I ain't got my phone with me, so I'm having to do it sort of facing the camera. I've got my clicker here, 33, which is our clipped skimmers and F1s. Not F1s, sorry, Carassios. So I've had 33 fish, decent fish. I've had some smaller ones short at the end in the last half an hour. I put some worms in short, and I've hooked a really nice skimmer, best one of the day, and I've had a Carassio down there, and I've had some smaller fish just to back that up, and I've been snapped up 3 times by some carp, but that's what everybody else has been putting up with, so I can't really grumble too much about that at the end. Looks like I've comfortably won the section, so I'll let you know. I'll probably put the weights over the top of this or something. Thanks for watching guys, and you know, that's day 1 out of the way, and I got really, really happy because I wasn't expecting to even win a section all week, because I thought, you know, quality of angler that I'm up against, I probably won't win a section all week. So to come and sit on a bung hole and just chuck a feeder out all day, and it's literally, that's gone round all day till the last hour, and it probably would have caught in the last hour just a bit slower, and I just thought, no, I'll have a look on these pole lines, because, you know, I've got a bit of a buffer, see what's there, and I've had some nice fish short. Don't feel like if I'd have stuck out long, I probably would have caught the same weight anyway, because it's just like 3 or 4 fish short, but you know, there we are. It's all worked out in the end, so brilliant guys. So that's round 1 over. Tune in for round 2 soon.